Welcome back to another installment of Iron Therapy. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, of course, by our RXMuscle staff psychotherapist, Lesley Timbol, and our very special guest today, Rich Piana, Rich Piana's brother. And Ryan had reached out to me and wanted to come on the show and talk about a special project he's got in commemoration and memory of his brother, Rich, who we all love. First of all, welcome, Lesley, and welcome, Rich. I mean, excuse me.
My last name's Bennett, by the way, but that's all right. Same mom, different dad, right?
That's right. That's right. You know, I talk to your mom a lot. We text message each other. You got an amazing mom. I just think she's so cool.
Oh, and, she is amazing.
She's always checking on me. I'm her son. I become like her adopted son. She's always checking on me.
I know she's awesome. I know you guys, their time changed. Like here, it's morning, so I had to put a hat on to cover up my pillow scars, you know, from
Lesley has pillow scars too. She's in the same time zone, but she gets up like she's got to do her cardio, so she got to
right. That's funny. I know I have to turn my phone on silent sometimes because mom forgets that she's 3 hours ahead.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Mom, I'm not even up for work yet. What the heck's this?
Right. No, what do you do back in California? Do you fix cars? That's what your job is?
Yeah, I work at Ford, so I work on cars all day long, and I took a little bit of time off. I do this, once a year around my birthday time, so gives me a little bit of R&R, I guess you can say.
Right. How many years has it been now since Rich passed? 2?
Oh, it's been 5.
Wow, 5. I was going to say, it feels like it happened yesterday. And
it really does. And, I feel like I'm stuck in 2017. It just blows my mind. Lots of things occur, and I feel like there's a lot of times he's still around, and I don't know how many people believe that, but I've seen so many signs, and my family around me have seen signs, just blow your mind.
Give me some of the signs, because I believe in all that. I have toys going off in my house in the middle of the night, saying stuff. So I believe in all that stuff. How has Rich attempted to make contact with you guys?
Oh man. Oh geez. Songs pop up. Of course, that's normal, but a weird thing is a guy that I worked with, and he barely knew me. He was kind of new. I was in the break room. I was talking about Rich to a fellow, that knew about him. And he kind of just piped up. He was eating his lunch. It's like, talking about Rich. So I pulled him up on the phone and I showed him.
Right.
And weirdest thing is he came up. This guy didn't even know me very well, right? He comes up to me on the computer and he goes, "Lemonade?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Does that mean anything to you?" And I go, "Not offhand, not really." And so he's like, "All right, I got to tell you something. You're going to think I'm crazy." And I go, "No, shoot. I don't think anybody's crazy." He goes, "So he had a dream." So he said he had a dream, and he knew that he was a child in the dream because so he was in his old bedroom, he said, and he went to go leave his bedroom, and the door closed on its own and kept him in the room. And so he was panicking, trying to get out of the room. And he went into his parents' room, and he was laying down between his two parents. Mm-hmm. And it gets really weird. And he said the next thing, when he laid with his parents and he felt safe, he was at work, and Rich was there. And he wrote Lemonade on a piece of paper, and it said, "I want you to tell my brother this," and slid it to him.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's so weird. So this is going to be even more weird. Okay. So about a month later, I'm going in to get a physical, and I haven't been to the doctor in a while, and I'm a little bit nervous. And I drink beer, and you start thinking about things, and you start panicking, and you have been having.
I have liver disease or something. That's going right.
Yeah, right. So I'm talking to this old man that, if he's watching or watches, he's not that old. He's an older guy at work, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling him, "Hey, man, I'm a little nervous about these results, this and that." And I said, maybe I should stop drinking beer. And he goes, "You know what, Ryan?" He goes, I drank so much beer, and you know what? I found out that I really love lemonade." And I go, "What?" I'm like, "What did you just say to me?" I literally started bawling, and I was like, "I gotta go out."
Wow.
Just like Rich is like, hey man.
So have you switched from beer to lemonade, or are you still drinking beer?
Oh, I drink beer.
And you know what the funny thing is? Rich would do the same thing if you did it to him. If you said, "Hey,
right?
Rich,
Yeah, for sure.
stop all the gear, and do flowers instead," he would be like, "Yeah, right, all right, thanks, that's great. Thank you for confirming my brother's still around." But
yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it. No, there's been that and music and just really weird things. And at the time, I was genuinely kind of freaked out, and so for no reason, but.
You know what the funny thing about what you just said was, right away I said to myself, why wouldn't Rich just contact you in the dream? And then I said, if he did contact you, the context would not be as good. By the fact that it came from another person that had nothing to do with you or Rich,
yes,
that's what made it so that's what the validation process is, and it was so validating for you because it wasn't from you. It wasn't like you were making this up in your head,
Right, and the fact that he was new there, and it took so much guts for him to come up to me and say, "Hey,
yeah, sure,
I'm gonna be a weirdo right now, but I have to tell you something."
Right. I want to ask Lesley something as our psychoanalyst here. When someone passes, and unfortunately in today's last couple of years, a lot of people have died, and a lot of people know someone who's died. Is this healing like what Ryan is telling us now? I mean, I think a lot of people don't talk about it, and they just harbor it inside, and it kind of eats away at them. And I've told you this before. I did that when my mom died, and I was 14. I just didn't know how to emotionally deal with it, and I probably didn't deal with it for 20 years, and it just was kind of like gnawing away at me inside. I mean, this is a healthy thing to do, is to talk about this, because it lets that emotion out, right?
It does. But the thing is, sometimes people are afraid to deal with the reality of it, because if they talk about it, it makes it more real. So on some level, even though they know it's real, they want to be in a state of almost denial that maybe this is a bad dream. This is not really happening. And they kind of like put it on the back burner and pretend, or try to pretend, that this isn't the reality, because to deal with it on a deeper level, not just a superficial level, that takes a lot out of you. But yes, I agree. In order to process your feelings properly, it is important to be able to talk about it. Obviously, with people who are more understanding, some people can be very judgmental, and people have different types of grieving processes. It doesn't necessarily mean that if other people around you are sad and you're not feeling sad at the moment, there's something wrong with you. You may need more time to process it before you can go through various phases.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We lost Lesley.
Numb.
There she is.
It might feel numb, but I mean, it's everyone. There's not a right or wrong way of grieving, as long as you're able to go through that process eventually. But, being able to talk about it is definitely really, really important, because we only go through a certain amount of processing when we do it in our own minds. It helps to kind of share with other people, especially people who know, in this case, Rich, which there's a ton of people who know Rich, to be able to share that. And it's not just good for you individually to share that. It's great for other people to be able to share those experiences together, because what you're also doing is reliving and keeping his memory alive.
Exactly. Yep. That's what I'm kind of doing with the car. That's my idea. I'm trying to bring two worlds together. The lowrider community.
Car project. Tell us the car project, what it is all about.
All right. So I used to have an El Camino back in the day, and I had about 6 lowriders back in the day, and it was like a project for me. And so we bought the house, and so now I have room to do a project again. So I was looking for it, and I found an El Camino. I was actually looking for a different car, but
YouTube. I'd like to take a second to honor.
Good.
So so I basically I purchased a car because my brother was pretty into it too. A lot of people don't know that, and it's funny because I went to his house one day.
I'd like to take a second to honor my brother on his birthday today. All right, YouTube.
Just trying to. I just wanted to. I'm gonna just kill the audio so you can keep talking. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, I purchased the car because I had an El Camino back in the day, and actually Rich, I went to his house. We were hanging out, and he's like, actually, I live right down the street from Pro Hopper Hydraulics, and I'm like, no shit. So we went there, And I've always wanted a car with the hydraulics on it. And I was probably about 19. And so we drove down there. Rich took me down there, and we're sitting there in the place looking at the hydraulic pumps. And the guy goes, "Here, you can buy this pump for $250, and you can buy the chrome one for $400." And Rich goes, "Well, why can't we have the chrome one for $250?" And the guy goes, "All right, like, here you go." And so it was so funny. Me and Rich were laughing. We got in the car. We got this awesome thing. We were just laughing about it. Like, see, price is a price. They're just making a price. It's like, Rich was like, "No, we're not paying that." And so I never forgot that. And so when I found the El Camino, it kind of brought me back to that spot. And I thought, well, what if I just did a memorial lowrider build for Rich, and and get murals on it, for him, incorporate some of his stuff.
Right.
Would be really cool, and that lowrider community, they really honor, people that have passed. They have really good artwork on the car,
Sure.
So I thought that would be cool. And I was scrolling through YouTube, and I found a guy on there that does muraling, and he was doing a Marilyn Monroe on a hood of a car, and I was like, wow, that's like amazing.
Right.
And but he's got thousands of viewers, so I'm gonna comment, and this guy's not gonna see it.
Sure.
But he posted a video of him in a comic book, and there was he had just posted it. So I was like, so I commented, and he commented right back. Of course, he knew who Rich was, which was kind of cool too. And I was like, wow. So he goes, "I'd be honored to do it, this and that." So I got a guy that's going to do the murals. And he actually called me, and he said, "You know what, Ryan?" He goes, I just lost my brother a month ago.
Wow.
So I know how you feel. So we started talking, and we got a connection there. So in the building the car's a process. I pulled it out of the dirt, the mud.
Sure.
And it looked like the Titanic. It had over it. So
yeah.
So it's came a long way in a year. I've been out there every day after work for the last year. Just
that's awesome. I
grinding.
can't wait till it's finished. When do you think it'll be done?
Oh God, it's going to be a while. The process of the paint takes a while. My goal was to bring it to a cruise that's right down the street from where me and Rich grew up. Mm-hmm. They actually block off the road there, and they have a big cruise. The car's registered, but it's on the 8th, so the car's not going to be done. But
right.
I'm still going to go there, and I think I'm going to film, the apartments where we grew up, and share some stories from there. And just because I didn't meet that goal doesn't mean I'm going to meet the ultimate goal. I make goals, and it's kind of an unrealistic goal to get it done that soon. But it drives.
This is what you should. You want to know what you should? I'm going to give you a little business. This is Rich would appreciate. This is channeling from Rich.
Okay.
What Rich is telling me to tell you to do is get this one done. However you have to get it done as quickly as you can. Spend the money. Don't worry about it. Even if you got to leverage yourself out a little bit, get it done, and then auction it off. Sell it, and then when you make the money from that one, buy another one and do another one, and that's the one you'll keep, and that's the one you'll it'll be like a duplicate, but the first one you're going to sell to finance the second one, and then this way there'll be two.
We just keep getting better and better and better, right?
No, you only do two. You got to be limited edition. Only
just
two.
Two.
Rich is saying you got to make money on this. You can't lose money, so you got to do two of them, not just one. He doesn't want one car. He wants two cars.
He wants two? I got it. Well, as long as we can put the first one in a museum so everybody can go visit.
That's right. One goes to the Smithsonian, and then one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He wants you to drive the other one around so that people see it. That's important. You shouldn't just sit in the garage. He said, I don't want it in the garage. I want it driven around. So
right. That definitely sounds like him. Oh, it'll happen. It's going to happen.
Now, it's funny because, I didn't really know Rich's background that much. I knew a little bit about it from talking to your mom and stuff like that. But Rich was into breakdancing and what was he into, like stunt riding with his bike?
Yeah. He was really good at freestyle BMX. Super good at it. And how
old was he when he did that?
Like probably 15.
Wow. That's dangerous stuff too.
Oh yeah. No, he was pretty badass. He would do this. He would stand up on the handlebars in the seat and surf. He would do his flip tricks. And yeah, there he is right there on the top of
That's him on the left, right?
Yeah, on the top of the half pipe right there. Yeah.
Crazy. That's
Oh, hey, he had me out there. My mom's got pictures of us, and I was little, and I'm riding out there with him, and I had these tall socks with the stripes. You remember those '80s socks that are like go all the way?
Sure. Yeah, we all wore them. I wore them.
Yeah, there's pictures of me out there trying to
What do
do
we
it.
call those? Tube socks? My mother used to call them tube socks. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
really what
Yeah.
That's what they are, I think. The socks went up this high and the shorts went down that much.
Me talking about tube socks, it sounds like my dad when he was talking about knickers. My father used to be like, we used to wear knickers.
Knickers.
Knickers. What the hell are knickers?
What's that?
Nowadays, people are like, what the hell are tube socks? Everyone wears the socks. You can't even see the socks, at the top of the shoe,
Exactly, right?
But that was the style back then. So,
Oh, yeah.
how did you get into bodybuilding from freestyle bike riding?
Well, actually, my mom, she was in the gym all the time, and
Right.
she was competing. She was working 2 jobs. She was competing in bodybuilding. Raising 2 boys.
Right.
She was kick-ass mom. She still is kick-ass mom. But yeah, so we were in the gym a lot. And there's things for kids to do. In the gym. But Rich was a little bit older, so he found things to do where everybody else was. So he would, and Bill Canberra, he owned the gym Body and Power. So. And Bill was a monster. He still is a beast. I don't know if you know if he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a monster. And so Rich, this is funny. So Rich would want to be like him, and so it was kind of like a thing for Rich that was like his goal, And there was one time where Rich was in the bathroom and he was wearing just his Speedos, right? Back then there was like he wore the trunks, the posing trunks.
Right.
And I'm probably like 5 years old because, I'm like up here to the counter and Rich is in there flexing. And I walked in and I started laughing. And I was laughing at him. And he goes, you'll see. And he just kept saying, you'll see. And I'm laughing. And then pretty soon I'm like, okay, you win. He did it. And he was, that's what he did. And that's what he wanted. And he made his life, I'm not laughing now,
It's interesting that you didn't take any interest in bodybuilding ever.
I did in my 20s. And there was a point where I looked pretty damn good in my 20s, and I got really into music. I was in a couple of bands, and I focused on that, and actually had a lot of fun doing that. Was on the radio a few times. And
oh, cool. I always said if I wasn't a bodybuilder, I think a rock star would have been a much
yeah, right.
It's not like there's not much better than a rock star. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can be a rock star and actually tour, and I mean that's probably the greatest profession of all time.
Yeah, and you write music and people love it. That's the coolest part. It's because you're not covering somebody else's song. You're writing your own stuff. And it's like, and you see people that love it. And you're like, all right, this is awesome. I'm reaching people.
I don't know. Did you guys watch that Elvis movie that just came out recently?
No, I haven't.
Elvis would sing, and these girls would go. Legitimately would just scream and lose their freaking mind over it. It's like they couldn't control their bodies. They just lost their mind. I mean, anyone who has that's the greatest power of all time. I thought like a 23-inch arm was cool. No fucking way.
No way.
Sing and make girls tremble and fall to the ground.
I used to tell Rich, I was like, hey, you got to learn how to sing and come sing for our band. You'd be badass, man. Everybody would love us.
Tell me about it. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I have one of the videos I have up there where I'm test driving the car. That's actually my band playing in there.
Oh, it is? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Some old school stuff.
What kind of music did you guys like playing mostly?
Well, it was kind of Papa Roachy kind of stuff. Oh, like modern rock.
Right. When Rich passed, obviously it was I don't think anyone expected it, which is sometimes worse. Like if someone's sick and they have cancer or something like that, and you kind of know that it's not going to, it's not going well for them. It's like you can kind of mentally prepare. When you heard, and I don't know how you heard, maybe you could tell us, when you found out that Rich had passed, I mean, was it like disbelief? I mean, how did you deal with that right away? Immediately, you and your mom.
It was really crazy. I just I relive that. I was at work and I was having a bad day and I was, just struggling with a car and, I was kind of in my own world. And mom called me, Ryan, you know, and I just, and at that point, what I was going through, it was nothing at that point, you know, and nothing will ever top that phone call, you know, and that was when he was in a coma. So,
Right.
And that was actually after it just happened. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, of course, it's an ongoing investigation about it, and there's only limited things I can say, you know, but it's just, we need to know what happened, you know, that's the main thing. His blood and urine were clean. There's been things said on the internet that are not true. So, I mean, for those things to come out, it's kind of weird. You know, there's people being looked at and things being looked at, you know, and
so there still is an active investigation because there was no cause of death really. They
absolutely.
They called it like heart related, but they don't really know for sure.
No, his heart was perfect. His heart was perfect. So, and his blood and urine were clean. So we don't know exactly what went down. And there was a lot of, you know, it took a half hour to get the ambulance to get there and this and that, which wasn't true. It was 6 minutes. So from, you know, papers don't lie, you know, those things don't lie. So, you know, it was 6 minutes from dispatch to arrival, and he was without oxygen for a half hour. So there's time in there, and there's questions there, you know.
And they lost samples they took of his blood, right?
They lost some of those, yes, but the ones we do have, he was clean, so there was nothing.
Lesley, when someone gets news like that, I mean, so suddenly, and you don't expect someone who's, you know, that young to pass. I mean, it's emotional trauma, really, is what it is, and that trauma obviously leaves a big scar, you know. And how do you get past that? I mean, because obviously you keep reliving that phone call over and over, and obviously there's no definitive cause of death, and so it's still kind of open ended, and they're still trying to figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. As a therapist, you know, how do you suggest people to deal with that, be able to move on with their life when there's still like unfinished business, so to speak, related to the death?
I tell people to focus on what you do know. There's a lot of questions, and because you don't have answers, to continually focus on that right now is going to be futile. So a better use of your efforts is like commemorating like what you're doing with this car, but thinking about the positive moments. Think about like Rich as a person. If he was to talk to you right now, would he want you lamenting about him? Like how would he want you to live your life? You know, and it's remembering those memories and the impact he's had, let's say on you personally, Ryan, as well as, you know, the entire bodybuilding and fitness community. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to really focus on positive, but keep in mind, he's left a legacy. To not recognize that legacy would be an insult to his memory. So we need to be able to honor that and remember that. I'm not saying don't be sad. You have a right to be sad. And if you need to cry, you cry. You give yourself that permission to cry because you're allowed to have your feelings.
I do it all the time.
But when you're reliving those moments, it's because of a lot of this is the unfinished business too. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't mean that even when you get answers, everything's going to be okay. No, there's still, you know, this healing process takes a really long time. There's no such thing as being 100% healed. Right. You can have moments where you'll have better days than others, but it's never going to be 100%. Like I said, even if you had all the answers today, you're not going to feel 100% about this. Right. You're not supposed to. It's like a part of your heart's been ripped out permanently.
Absolutely. And, you know, when he was in the hospital, there was a time that I almost had to go to the hospital. I wasn't eating and I was shivering. I was detoxing from something. I was just shivering and not eating. I believe that was probably a part of me dying, you know, in a way. I was very sick.
We go through moments of shock, not just at the moment that we learn the news. And that's the thing about our feelings. They can be resurrected and it feels fresh like it's that day, even though it happened years ago.
Yep.
It's like a wound. It's like a wound and you like pull out that scab off. It starts bleeding.
Yeah, all the time.
But I want you to know that's normal. It doesn't feel good, but it's normal. And it's part of that healing process of scabbing up, bleeding, scabbing up, bleeding. That's it. And it's being more okay with that process. It doesn't feel good, but recognizing that is quote unquote normal, considering what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because he meant so much to you and the rest of the world. Like I said, he left a legacy, and not to recognize that would be an insult to him.
Right. Yeah.
But for you, when you relive these moments, it's being okay. And like I said, giving yourself permission to say, yeah, I miss you, brother. Like, I wish you were here.
Yeah.
And you might need to. I tell people, I do the talking share technique with a lot of people. So I tell people, get a picture. Let's say for you, Ryan, get a picture of Rich. You probably have an assortment. Put it on a chair, and sometimes just talk to him. Sometimes you might want. Go ahead.
You know what's funny about it? I just wanted to make a comment. I pulled up this picture randomly from Rich's Instagram, and the guy next to him, Aaron Reed, actually moved to Cape Coral. He trains at the gym. I see him every day. Isn't that?
Oh,
weird?
no.
Yeah. Every day we see each other at the gym. Well, not since the hurricane, but before the hurricane, we did. And he's a really nice guy too. So it's crazy. The whole.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, I actually have a recording of Rich telling me happy birthday in 2016. And I play it every year.
Mm-hmm.
And actually my birthday was on the 2nd. And I play that. And it's almost like if I listen to it on my phone, it's almost like he's there telling me it in real time.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I miss him too, because you know what? He really did make an impact on the bodybuilding community. There's no doubt. I mean, the guy was a marketing genius. You could say whatever you want about, you know, maybe some of the reckless things that he did, and we all do reckless, stupid things. But marketing wise, he changed YouTube. He changed the way people market products. He changed the way people covered bodybuilding. And I think that that's something that, you know, people will never forget. And that's why he's still etched in people's minds, and people still talk about him today, because he did change. He made change. There are people who there's a lot of good people we lost over the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
But you're not going to remember them necessarily like you do Rich in 10 years, because they didn't necessarily do anything unique. Whereas Rich did something different that really just, like I said, changed how bodybuilding and just marketing in general is done. The guy just knew how to sell products and sell ideas to people, because he made them cool. And that's a rare talent right there.
He made it all interesting again. He made it all new.
I don't even know where he came up with half the sayings. And even if he didn't make them up himself, he if someone else did, he made them popular. And that's not easy to do, because there's plenty of people coming out with great ideas every day, great nutritional products, and they never see the market. You know, they don't do anything. They don't sell. They don't catch on. They disappear because it's the marketing spin behind everything you do that makes products unique, or makes anything unique that you do. And that's a gift that he had. And it's a shame that he's not around to continue doing what he did great, because I think he could have gone beyond bodybuilding. And
definitely. I was always looking forward to that. And there's a couple of times where he kind of retired, and he was like, he did some articles in some magazines that says, I'm done, and it takes away from my family, and it makes you selfish and all that. And then he goes, well, I'm doing it again.
Money's a great motivator. Let's face it. Rich liked his material thing.
You can't stop doing stuff that you love, and you can't blame him for that, right?
Look, it's hard not to do something that you like to do, that you're good at, and that you get paid well to do.
Right.
I mean, that's the greatest motivator right there, right? Validation. What you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
But he just seemed like he was like that even as a kid. Was he like that as a kid? Was he kind of always really driven, really ambitious, like to try crazy things, very creative?
Oh yeah. He was crazy in sports, crazy. Like if he would like the bike stuff, he was trying to do the most insane tricks. He was getting hurt. He was knocked his 2 front teeth out. He just kept going.
Some people just like to win. You know what I mean? And they like the challenge of it's like Michael Jordan. Everyone thinks Michael Jordan was this great guy, this great competitor on the court. He's like that in everything in life. He bets on if you can throw a piece of bubble gum, how far you can throw a piece of bubble gum. He bets on golf. he's a very driven guy, and that's the way Rich just liked to win and liked to like challenge himself and show that he was the best at whatever he did. And I respect it. I'm kind of the same way in a sense.
Oh yeah,
because I can understand where he was coming from.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see the car, Ryan. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have to come back on the show and we'll show it off and send me pictures. And best of luck with that. And of course, I send my love to your mom and to you. And I know Rich just turned 52 the other day when you had texted me, and he's around the same age as me. It's crazy. But like you said, I thought literally I blacked out. I felt like it was like 2 years ago, and it's been 5 years. So
yeah, it's time flies, right? I mean,
his memory is very strong still, and I'm glad you're there for your mom and everything like that. And that's awesome that you two support each other so much. And don't be a stranger. Let me know when that car's done. Remember, you got to do 2 cars. Two.
Okay, we got it. 2 cars. Thank you for your support, Dave, through everything. I mean, we've been talking since the beginning. So, I mean, thank you for everything you've done and the support that you've given our family. I appreciate it.
Very, very welcome, and my pleasure. All my love. And guys, that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Iron Therapy. I'm Dave Palumbo with Lesley Timbol and Ryan Piano. We'll see you next time.